Hello. It is currently Sunday early-ish evening on the 29th of October. We're very close to Halloween, so happy Halloween if you celebrate. It's very cozy and stuff, I guess. Anyway, I am here to give an update about the challenge that I put upon myself that I started, which is to reach Keystone Hero with all of the tanks. Simply put, I started this challenge about, 1.5 to 2 months ago, something like that. And there were always, in my mind, two major issues. One of them was that I didn't know when Season 3 would start, or more importantly, I guess, when Season 2 would end. So I never really quite knew what kind of time frame I was working with, but I always kind of kept it in the back of my mind that all of a sudden it would be thrown in my face that, oh, you don't have a lot of time anymore. And that kind of came true in the sense that it was announced on, a week or two ago, something like that, that on the 7th of November, Season 3 would start. And then the second major part of it all is that I was kind of learning on the job in a lot of different aspects, both in terms of the whole video editing stuff, as well as literally learning all of the different specs, the tank specs. And both those things combined ended up taking a lot of time, a lot more time than I expected to, make a video from A to Z, if that makes sense. And simply put, right now, I'm at a crossroads, if you will. I basically have to make a choice. I either hardcore no-life game, like a madman, to try and still get the last couple of characters over the finish line, or I call it quits and I work with the backlog of recordings that I have still. I have a good solid 2 resets worth of stuff to go through still. The last video I uploaded was my DK getting over the finish line, and there has definitely been more characters over the finish line at this point. But not all of them. And I basically have to choose, do I try to get all of them over there? Or do I start the editing process of the things that I already have? Because I cannot realistically do both. And my choice essentially is to start the editing process and not play anymore. Because simply put, I don't want this series to, go well past the starting date of Season 3. Because it's Season 2 content, no one really cares anymore at that point, right? And number 2, I don't want to be unrealistically overworking myself by pushing everything to the max and somehow try to balance, playing like a madman as well as editing like a madman. Simply put, I do not have the time nor the energy nor the capabilities to do that stuff in a timely fashion. So, conclusion. Essentially, I have to admit that I failed the challenge, I guess. Though, in a way, I don't really see it as a personal failure because I've learned a lot of things. This was a very, very interesting, educational, and fun journey as well. I learned a lot about editing. I learned a lot about the game itself. I learned a lot about pugs. And I also obviously learned tanking from a different perspective, in the sense that, from an other perspective than Guardian Druid, because that's basically my only frame of reference for playing this game, if that makes sense. So, all in all, there's a lot of good things about this whole thing, and I'm very happy with it still, even though I ultimately didn't quite get to the finish line in the way that I wanted. But I will still release some videos about it, because I have a backlog of recordings that I want to go through, and I still have completed the challenge on some of these tanks, which I obviously want to show you guys, right? Which leads us to, I guess, the future and what's ahead of us, I suppose. With Season 3, I'm making the decision to raid again, because I didn't raid in Season 2 in 10.1. I also started playing 10.1 like in the middle of summer, so I wasn't there at the start of the whole thing. But now I'm gonna play from the start, and I'm gonna raid as well. I'm gonna be one of the tanks in the guild that I'm playing with. I'm gonna play whatever is the best tank for mythicplus, because that's ultimately where I really want to push myself, if that makes sense. And obviously, raid gear is pretty good. So that's why I want to gear him to the best extent possible. And I guess that could be turned into content, but something that I've also been looking for, or been looking into rather, is guides and tips and tricks and stuff like that, because I do feel like I have enough knowledge and know-how to help like beginner tanks to take their first steps into the world of tanking. It can be very daunting. It's a very big responsibility to be a tank. So helping people on that journey is something that I do feel qualified for. And obviously something else that I want to definitely try is to just continue this journey of expanding my own personal knowledge. I started playing other tanks now. I might want to dive into some DPS roles. I might want to dive into some healing roles, because those things are also things that I've never done before. So in that regard, there's a lot of options for me, I suppose. And yeah, I'm very excited to dive into that kind of stuff. I haven't quite figured out how exactly I'll do it all and at what point things will happen. But the good thing is that I'm doing it at the start of the season. So compared to my challenge that I started now, I don't feel a constant time pressure knowing that the season might end at any moment. So that is already really good. So yeah, with all of that said, I'm gonna continue on releasing the footage that I still have in hopefully qualitative, high quality videos. I'm gonna try and do that while season 2 is still going on, because I don't want to upload season 2 videos in season 3, if that makes sense. And I am definitely thinking ahead in terms of what I can bring to this channel for the future. I'll definitely be focusing on tanks still, but I'll also just be focusing on World of Warcraft in general, if that makes sense. And then obviously, I definitely am open to feedback. I'm definitely open to listening to you guys, and if you have any ideas that you want to throw my way, or if you have any feedback or positives, negatives, just tell me. Don't play nice. I can take it. Don't worry. I'm a big boy. But yeah, no, I'm very open to feedback and any kind of extra insight from another person's perspective, if that makes sense, other than myself. So, a very long-winded way of saying I fucked up. Well, not quite. But a very long-winded way of saying, oops, I'm not going to be able to do what I originally set out to do, but it was a very nice journey. It was very insightful, and there's a lot of good things to look forward to in the future. So yeah, I think that's about everything that I wanted to say. Thank you guys for hanging. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sticking around as well. And I hope to see you guys next time. Cheers.